Good afternoon, it's Charles J. Orlando, and I'm coming at you live. Happy, belated, uh, whatever you're in the midst of celebrating. Maybe it's Christmas that you just finished. Maybe you're in the midst of Hanukkah. Maybe you have something else coming up. Either way, happy holidays and seasons and greetings. If this is your first time watching me, I am a relationship expert and best-selling author that dishes out real-world advice here on Facebook several times a week. If you enjoy what you hear, click on my name above this video. You'll be taken to my Facebook page where you can join 1.5 million other people who follow my writings and musings on a daily basis. If you don't enjoy what you hear, send me your hate mail. I relish it. And if you want to know more about me, you can visit me anywhere on social media using the social handle Charles J. Orlando. That's charlesjorlando.com. You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, here on Facebook, obviously, my website, or at Tumblr, and even Snapchat. So definitely hit me up. Cheryl, Michelle, Tammy, great to see you here. We ended with a worldwide audience, so I'd appreciate if you would jump in and offer your comments. I love to interact. This is what I've done since I started my career. This is what I've done since I've been on Facebook. When you come to any of my social handles online, you only get me. You don't get my publicist or my manager or my agent. You just get me. That's something that's very near and dear to my heart. So I appreciate you joining. Look, I want to talk about keeping the spark moving into the new year. If you've just come out of the holidays and now you're like, oh, damn, that was fun, but now it's over. Thank you. You're not alone because the holidays can provide a lot of different types of stress on all kinds of relationships, whether it's family or friends or most assuredly significant other. So I want to talk about how you can keep that spark moving in a positive direction. I've heard from so many people that 2016 was such a challenging year, and it was for me too. I will put both hands up, maybe a leg or two. It's been definitely challenged, and it's been hard to get through. We're here. We're at the end of it. Brenda, I'm sure that you've inboxed me. I'm sorry about that. If you've left me a message, I get to as many as I can on a daily basis. With 1.4, 1.5 million people here, it's very difficult to give out fast, quick advice, and I get to as many as I can. So I appreciate your patience. And I will, Brenda, if you want to put that in one more time, it'll go to the top of the list, and I'll see how fast I can get back to you here this afternoon. Let's keep the spark in 2017. First, if anybody wants to know a little bit of trivia around 2016, what I've learned. So numerologically, this is not to jump into any kind of religious or philosophical discussion, but if you want the numerology behind what this year is all about, universally we follow a 9-year cycle from a universal standpoint. Each of us has our own cycles, but universally we go into a 9-year cycle. This is the end of a 9-year cycle, leading to the one that comes next year. So next year is about rebirth, and that's why so many things are finishing up this year. It's, in my opinion, why there's been a lot of wrapping up, a lot of unfortunate passings of different people, not only in our immediate world, but also celebrities who have passed, etc. So there's a lot of cleanup that's happening universally right now, and now we're moving into a brand new cycle. And that doesn't mean that the hurt or the loss goes away with what is being experienced. Most recently yesterday with George Michael passing away, so my best to his family and friends. But so we're entering a new cycle. Here's how you can bring your relationship or your relationships to a brand new place as you get into this new cycle in 2017. So the first secret here, and we're talking about the best ways for you to keep that spark alive in an established relationship, but also if you're not in an established relationship right now and you're in the midst of dating, remember these things as you get in, because dating's just dating. It's not quite the same thing as an established relationship. So keep the spark alive. Here's what you do. The first is, do not give up on the newness of your relationship. Too often, we get into a couple of weeks, a couple of months, a couple of years, and everybody all of a sudden relaxes. Like, comfort is one thing and familiarity is another, but complacency is something completely different. So when you stop shaving on the weekends, or maybe at all, that doesn't include my beard here, but you know what I'm saying. when you look down and all of a sudden it's, a jungle and it's not supposed to be that way. Shave that. Sorry, you're going to get all of me today. You want to take care of yourself the same way that you did when you were dating, and you want to keep it new and alive and fresh and put that effort in, because the minute you start dropping back is the very moment that you start getting a little too comfortable, and that comfort leads to complacency, and complacency leads to disconnection. Okay, so yeah, Glenda, I'm not shaving the beard. Don't worry. Sorry, Mariah. So don't give up on the newness of your relationship. The second thing, and this is really important, you cannot. So I get a lot of people writing in, how can I change my partner? How can I make them better? How can I make them put in more? Look, here's number 2. You cannot change them. Okay? You can create an environment where it's safe to change or where they can improve on themselves, but you will never, ever, ever make them change. They have to choose that path. So if you want to keep that spark alive, you have to recognize first that you can only do your half of the spark. They have to do the rest on their side. And that's part of what's so important about any relationship, because if the minute you start trying to control things and make it all work together all by yourself, okay, then what you're doing is you're creating a relationship alone, and they are now attending it. And that does nothing except fuel disconnection and resentment and contempt. And you don't want any of those things on your side. So you want to create an environment that it's safe for them to be themselves, but they have to choose that on their own. All right, so that's the second thing. Glenda Hill, great to see you here. Stacy, she loves you. All right, number 3. So many people end up looking for attention when it comes to dating and relationships, okay? And attention is great. It feels good. It feels good when someone looks at us, pays attention to us, wants us, values us, all of those great things. But attention is not the same as respect, okay? Respect not only lasts longer, but it's actually a genuine reflection of how they feel about you. Anybody can give you a compliment, but someone who truly deserves your love will respect you. All right, so the third thing is respect. If you are just joining, my name is Charles J. Orlando. I am a relationship expert, best-selling author, and as of January 3rd, that is in 1 week, you'll find me as the new expert host on 7-Year Switch on FYI here in the United States. Clips will definitely be made available online, absolutely. And you'll find me at that premiere, 2-hour premiere on FYI, which is a division of A&E here in the domestic United States. And I'm hoping that it'll be out on Hulu and on iTunes as well. So worked with 4 couples trying to better their relationships, improve their marriages. They're disconnected. My partner, Dr. Jessica and I team up, and we offer them something called Switch Therapy, which allows them to get some real world perspective on their relationships. And it was fabulous to work with these people. Really helped some people. And you know who I have to thank for that? You guys. You guys being here and supporting me through this entire journey is the reason why I'm relevant. You're listening, which makes you the most incredible people ever. So thank you for all of that. All right. So we're talking about keeping the spark. We've gone through never giving up the newness of your relationship. We're talking about making sure that they respect you, and that's how they earn your long-term love on a regular basis. You recognize that you cannot change them under any circumstances. They have to choose that on their own, all right? The fourth, you want to keep your strength, your individuality, and your self-esteem right up front, okay? And maybe for a lot of people that feels selfish, right? As soon as I start saying you put yourself first, everybody's like, well, you're supposed to put your partner first. Yes, you are, right after you. And here's why. You have to remember that a relationship is made up of 2 individuals, okay? And they come together to make a relationship work right. But they're still people. Besides being in that relationship, they are still individuals with their own wants, their own needs, their own desires, their own dreams, careers, thoughts, opinions, all those things. You are supposed to maintain that individuality. That's part of what it keeps the spark alive in your relationship, because as soon as you maintain you have something to share with them. Not necessarily give or give up or give up pieces of who you are. You share your individuality into the relationship, and together you build it, and you are able to not sacrifice who you are or what you want. You're staying you. The minute you start giving up too much of yourself is when things all of a sudden fall out of balance, and that doesn't work long term, because then you feel taken for granted and they don't understand what happened with you. Why are you giving up so much of yourself? You're not as interesting as you used to be. All this negative stuff starts coming to you. Esther's asking, does individuality mean independence at a large level? Yes. You're supposed to be with them. They're not supposed to be your entire world. Okay? They're not supposed to be your entire world. You are including them as part of your world, but they're not supposed to be the entire thing. As soon as you start making them your all, your everything, then you're dead, because you don't have enough of you. And I've said this before, but it bears repeating. Jerry Maguire got it wrong. Okay? They're not supposed to complete you. If they complete you, it's because you didn't have enough of you to begin with in the first place. You're supposed to share you with them, and they're supposed to as well. All right? Do not give up your individuality, your self-esteem, your independence. You are supposed to maintain that strong. And if they're not comfortable with that, well, then they need too much control. You know, you're supposed to join them. You're not supposed to give yourself up. Okay? All right. That's the fourth thing. Fifth thing. This is super important, okay? And this, remember, we're talking about keeping the spark alive, and not only that, but not only maintaining the spark, but starting the spark, okay? Never, ever, ever settle for second best. Never. And here's why. The minute you lower the bar, you're going to keep lowering the bar. And that's when people put in less and less. They get really comfortable. And they get really familiar and really complacent in the relationship, and they do just enough to get by. And that leads to everybody's disconnection and downfall. Now, a lot of people say, well, what do you mean don't settle for second best? That makes me high maintenance. No, it doesn't. What it means is that you have high standards, and there is a big difference. Look, you're the only you that there is. And just as you are right now, you are valuable, incredible, and amazing. Okay? Just as you are right now. So why in the world would you decide to say, well, I'm only kind of worth it, so I guess I'll just take whatever you give me because I'm not that good anyway? Every time you settle for second best, that's the message you're sending your partner. Every single time you allow bad behavior where they talk to you wrong, where they don't put in effort. Now, I'm not saying you're supposed to be a jerk and demand all these things all the time. That's not what I mean. I'm talking about you give your best to them and you demand the same back. And that is normal. That is what maintains great things. Okay? All right. So that's the fifth thing. Sixth thing, we'll get to that in a second. Let me answer some questions here. Carrie's asking, what if a man has children? How should she make you, Carrie's asking, what if a man has children? How should he make you a priority? So there's a common misconception that family is the same as the relationship, and it's not. Relationships or marriages stand on their own. Now, a family can be a part of that or not, but the relationship is the foundation of it all, okay? And it's separate. I could cite 1,000 people and many in my private coaching practice who have very healthy family units where the husband or the wife or the man and the woman, if they're not married, with their kids function perfectly. And then the kids start to drift away or they disappear. And all of a sudden, the relationship between the two parents falls down like a house of cards because the relationship is based on the family unit and not on each other. So it's two different pieces. How should he make you a priority, Carrie? That's something you both have to do together. You know, kids are super important. I'm the father of 2. I get it, right? Kids are super important. But if you don't make your relationship important, all you'll have is the family unit. And eventually, kids start to do their own thing. They get older. They have their own priorities. They have their own activities. And soon they move out and go to school. And then you're left looking across the breakfast table from somebody who you're not connected with. And that is a downfall. And that starts with your question right there. Leanne's asking, what if they don't give effort back? Then why are you there? Have you told them what you want? Have you told them exactly what you need? And maybe you're thinking, well, it's not the same. I don't want to have to tell them to put in effort. Then it'll never change. If they're not putting in effort and you're not getting what you need, say it straight. Is that a vulnerable place to be? Could they knock you down? Yes. Could they sit back and judge you as unimportant? Yeah, they could. And does that suck? Sure. But you'll never get your needs met unless you say it straight to them. This is what I want. This is what I need. Okay? This is what I need. All right. If you've just joined, let me reintroduce myself. My name is Charles J. Orlando. I am a relationship expert and best-selling author that comes on Facebook many times a week to answer questions, interact with fans and readers, and basically give out as much advice as I possibly can. Do I have 3 books out? I do. My 4th comes out January 10th. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, I hope you could join me at Barnes & Noble at the Grove, where I'm having my launch event for my 4th book, Don't Date a Dick. You want to know more about that? Go to don'tdateadick.com. That's a tongue twister. Don'tdateadick.com. And you can read all about my departure from traditional self-help books. This is a 40-page graphic novel that talks about our heroine, Hope, who is dating all the wrong guys. How can she possibly get rid of all these assholes that she's dating and get to a great place? And find a good guy who's actually worth it and worthy of her time, her effort, and her love. That's what we cover in this graphic novel. Don't Date a Dick. You can go to don'tdateadick.com and find out more about that. The 6th thing you have to do to keep the spark alive in your relationship, because that's what we've been talking about. The 6th thing is never, ever letting go of your passion. And some of that starts to wane over time. That pull that you have sexually and physically sometimes starts to come down a little bit. And part of that is normal as relationships go on. But if you want to keep that connection, that sense of intimacy, that longing, you need to keep things connected physically as well. The minute you start going through the same 5 seconds of foreplay leading to the same 7 minutes of intercourse, to the same washing yourself off in the sink and going to the refrigerator for orange juice, or whatever sad sexual story is happening in that house at night, like you're done. You're done. Look, sex starts way before you enter the bedroom, okay? It starts with some note that's left on the mirror in the morning, right? It starts with a text message that appears out of nowhere. It starts with a phone call midday that says, you're dead when I get home. It starts with all of those things that really put things together, you know, and for parents of young kids, it's hard to downshift from bottles and diapers and dinners and soccer practice and homework, and then all of a sudden you got to jump into bed and, hey, it's going to be awesome, and bullshit. That's not how it works, right? So you have to schedule a little bit of that time, but that's where we go back to the other comment that I was giving Carrie, and that is you have to keep your relationship a priority. You have to schedule time where it's just the two of you. And when it's just the two of you, you don't go into talking about the normal stuff, about kids and bills and finances and housework and schedules and jobs and commutes, and screw all that. You're supposed to get back to the stuff that connected the two of you in the first place. You're supposed to talk about each other and the things that you want, not only for each other, but for yourself. And you share that back, and that's what creates that sense of trust, that sense of intimacy, that sense of loyalty, okay? So do all of that, all right? Those are the 6 ways you can keep things really, really connected and keeping the spark alive in your relationship. Not only if you're in one now, and by the way, if you've been in a 20-year relationship and you're like, oh God, all of these things will work right now, okay? If you're dating somebody, keep this stuff in mind as you get into the new year, because as your relationship moves on, you're going to end up entering this place that is not non-affectionately known as the doldrums, right? It gets real familiar, it gets really predictable. And what you want to do is shake some things up and keep that spark alive together. Let me get to some questions here. I'm seeing a whole bunch of stuff coming in from Ron. Let me scroll up here. Where'd you go, Ron? Am I wrong for walking away when I catch her in a lie? This is from Ron Carlson. My friends say I should give her another chance. That depends. In my experience, little lies lead to bigger lies, right? But people usually lie for a couple of reasons in a relationship, Ron. They lie because they are too insecure in themselves to tell the truth. They're ashamed, right? Or there's an environment in the relationship where telling the truth is for some reason not safe, or at least they feel that it's not safe. That doesn't defend their lie, by the way. We're just talking about the reasons why, not defending yes or no on it, right? So if she's living with another man, which is what you commented in on saying here, that and she lied about it, I don't know why you would want to give somebody who's living with somebody else a chance. Mostly because what you're saying is, I don't mind that you're living with another person. I'm happy to be some option for you, and I'll beg and plead for your time as you give your primary time to the man you're living with. Like, that doesn't work out, man. That does not work out. You are not worth second best, okay? So if she doesn't see your value, that doesn't actually mean that you're not valuable, Ron. What it means is that she doesn't see it, and you're not responsible to teach her how amazing you are as a person, all right? You're supposed to get rid of her because she doesn't see how it works. She doesn't recognize you for the amazing guy that you are. So fire her and stop putting your worth and your self-esteem in the control of somebody who does not value you. Look, she lied and she's living with somebody else. She's showing you that she's not worthy of being in a relationship with you. So you're not supposed to feel bad. You're supposed to leave, and she's supposed to go play those games with somebody else. Bye, you're out. Do not drag that woman into 2017 with you. You're worth more, Ron. You're worth more. Don't do that to yourself. Again, if you liked what you hear, please click on my name or click on live subscribe, and you'll get notified when I go live here on Facebook, because I do go live several times a week. Happy to have you here. And you want to know more about me, go to charlesjorlando.com. Coming up this Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about an amazing service for all you daters out there. If you are currently dating somebody and you wonder how you can find out more information about them, or how you can find out their rating as a person, as a dater, there is an amazing service that's recently been launched that I'm going to be talking about this Wednesday. And yeah, I'll tell you all about that this week. In the meantime, we're going to talk tomorrow too. Do not settle for second best. All right? Don't do it. Ron, that includes you, bro. Don't do that. I'm Charles J. Orlando. I will see you guys soon. Until then, take care of yourselves. Happy holidays. 2017 around the corner. It's on. It's on this year. I'll see you guys soon.